Alright, welcome back everybody. We're going to do a little bit of a garden tour end of year. You can see pretty much all the tomatoes are all done and gone. And so we're going to take a look at some of the pepper plants that I planted here. And I really should have made this whole thing here the pepper garden last year or this year. And the problem is that I just didn't have the room. And as you can see, I'm starting another pile there. I'm going to try to expand that out for the tomatoes next year and then make this whole garden for my peppers. My peppers absolutely love it out here, and it's just not big enough for tomatoes and peppers. So if I can just keep it peppers, I'll be able to do quite well. I'll be able to grow a lot of plants. So we'll just take a quick look at what I got. Mostly what I got is just some of the hybrids that I've pretty much been working on and some of the crosses. So I'm running out the strain. What that means is after you make a cross, you plant out, all the seeds from, that cross, and then you see what comes out of it, and then you'll get like 10 different variations, and then you plant all of those, and you see all those variations, and that's really what we're kind of up to here. So in general, this is a bird pepper. This is just a cross between, I believe it was a bird pepper and a tapine. I think it was a bird's eye? I don't remember. It was one of those peppers. And then that's what we ended up here. And I'm getting an absolute ton of very large bird peppers here. You can see how they look. Nice and large. Now these things are absolutely scorching hot. I don't know if I'm going to offer them. I can offer them as an F2 or an F3. I think at this point, this plant's actually been, this seed's been planted again. The sizes kind of vary a little bit. You can see that they come out kind of black like that, and they also come out long and red. So it's all coming off the same plant, and that's just the way it grows. Let's see over here. That's another crossed variant. Actually, what that is that's one of the variants that come out of another cross, and that's what this is. Don't remember offhand which one that is. I got it marked down below. Just kind of showing you what's going on. All my crosses, anytime I make a cross on any of my pepper plants, all the crosses do phenomenally well. I mean, better than anything you can imagine buying. Anytime I buy like heirlooms, I really struggle. But once I cross them over, I end up with plants that are 3 foot tall that get so heavy with fruit that they actually start snapping and going on the ground. I mean, a lot of these branches are snapped in half. They're just laying on the ground. This is the Chacoense, or whatever they call that. Turns yellow eventually. That's a very popular variety on my website. That is ahi peri peri. Peri peri is just another name like tapine, except we use tapine in the West, and in the other countries like Africa and some of the other countries out there in those continents, they use the word peri peri. So it's the same thing as tapine, except peri peri is the wild pepper name that they use for inside the continent of Africa. So that's what that is. That's the ahi peri peri right here. You can see it's absolutely loaded with peppers. There's peppers everywhere. So I am harvesting them as they come in ripen. We just picked this one clean. That's the ahi Ethiopian. I had absolute ton of those things. So many of them, I don't even know what to do with them. It takes a very long time to clean the seed for those. Because it's monotonous. You're talking cleaning several hundred peppers, and you only end up with a small little handful of seeds. So it's very monotonous, but I will have plenty of seed. That's the Indian Walla right here. If you've never seen the Indian Walla, this plant didn't get that big this year. I thought it was going to get much larger. It stayed small like a bush, but it put out a ton of peppers on here this year. I got a lot of peppers off it. So we'll be able to replenish our Indian Walla pepper seeds, because that was getting kind of low. This is called the Joe's Long Cayenne. Look at this thing. Look how freaking long these cayennes get. Absolutely long. Unbelievably long. This plant overproduced so many cayenne peppers off of there, I don't even know what to do with them. We may even have to sell Joe's Long Cayenne in bulk. You can see how the plant, when it gets really heavy with fruit, it just starts to lean down like this. I can't even tie this up. I think next year, you can see I have all this wood here. Next year I'm going to be running string and cord. Maybe not string, but I'm going to run heavy cord between it, and then I'm going to be able to wire up these plants, because you can see what happens. They get loaded with fruit, they bend over, and then the branches start snapping off, and then I end up with unripened fruit on the ground. We're going to do, let's show you over here really quick. That's the Ahi Amarillo. We got a ton of pods off of that thing right now, off the Ahi Amarillo. We got a nice batch of those. Not that we're low on seed, but we wintered that over anyway, and we ended up with now a whole load of them. So we're going to have plenty of Ahi Amarillos. Maybe we'll do a bulk page for that, so we can offer seed for that in bulk. Now, this pepper here, let me see, is there any more down here? Oh, we got the tricolor variegated. That one got completely crowded out, but it still produced a lot of peppers, this plant. Even though it got crowded out, it produced quite a few. But this thing here is I'll try to explain this to you what this is. Now, I crossed a Fatali with a Carolina Reaper, and I ended up with a pepper that I named CRX Fatali. And that was the pepper that I ended up creating. Now, that seed is still throwing out different phenotypes, and one of the phenotypes that it's throwing out is this one here. And this is a really strange one, but we'll take a good look at it, show you all the peppers that are on this thing. It's absolutely loaded to the gills with peppers. These things look so viciously hot. I mean, this is absolutely deadly. So I'm really, I'm really kind of insecure about eating them, but we'll do a quick pod review on that one really fast. Just kind of showing you around some of the plants that got left out here for, before it's getting, right now, we're about what are we right now? We're about mid-October right now, so we haven't gotten a frost, and hopefully we won't get a frost all the way until November, and if that's the case, I will get even more peppers off of this. Down here, we got the early jalapeno down there. It produced quite a few peppers, just so you know. We got a ton of these jalapenos on here, off of it. Things loaded with peppers. For such a small plant, it made a lot of peppers. This is the Ahi peanut pepper. I got a ton of peppers off this. We just got done picking this, but you can still see the plant is absolutely loaded with peppers. The sun that's coming in is perfect this time of year. The plants are absolutely loving it, and they're throwing out pods like absolute crazy, and it's always absolute. Right here, this is called the Yakari Beacon. You can see the plants are doing quite well. They've all tipped over now. This all looked really nice not that long ago. We got hit with several storms, and it pretty much knocked everything over and snapping branches left and right. So I am losing a lot of peppers because the branches are snapping off the plant. Oh, what do we got here? I showed you that. That was the early jalapeno. Over here, this is Sahara Green. Okay, so Sahara Green. I should do a pod review on this. This is it's like a habanero. It's a green pepper, but this is a real strange variety of plant. It really doesn't like the fruit. This is actually ready. I can actually do a pod review on these. Once they start getting a little yellow, that's when they're good. They get a little sweetness to them. But it doesn't make that many peppers in general. Maybe if you grow it by itself, maybe you'll get more. But there's probably about 24 pods on here, which is pretty good. It's not bad, but it's not a heavy producer, so we will get pods off it. But again, it's a very late season variety. This plant doesn't start putting out pods until the end of August, basically, and then they sit on there for about 3 months, and you don't know when they're ripe because it's a green variety. Over here, this is a Paito di Mosa, and this is kind of a rare variety. You can't really buy the true version, the seed for this anymore. This is the true version of it. You can see that the pods are all nasty and gnarly. I believe it's a Bicadum, and you can see what it looks like. We picked these already. These have already been picked, but there's more coming out. I'm hoping we can get to the end of November, because by then a lot of these will actually turn red, and we're not going to be bringing these plants in. Not these. I got all the other plants I got to bring in. This, I'm trying to remember, is this another cross? Oh, you know what this is? This is called the 7-pot Dogla, but this is the 7-pot Dogla, which is a red variant that came out, and I continued to grow it out, and a lot of people seem like they like this variety. So I do offer it still, but the 7-pot Dogla, just for people who may or may not know, is generally a chocolate pepper, and it's not really a red pepper. The red ones that come out of it are variants, and that's what this is. This is a variant. It's a red version, and it's not the brown version. So there are pods on here. There's not that many on it. There's a good amount here. Maybe about 30 pods on here. They generally look like this, the red douglas. Very nice, long, elongated type habanero shape to it, but I can guarantee you these are not habaneros. You're going to be sorry when you bite into one of those. This is another kind of an oddball thing. This is a variant of a jalapeno, and I'm not sure with what. I just named them HR, 203, HR 144, HR 13. I just put HR numbers on it. I don't remember what HR number that is. In the back, we got Malaysian Gournong, but I'll show that to you in a minute. Right here is the Cap 501. A lot of people asking me for seed on this. I'm showing you right now on the Cap 501. You can see there's flowers and everything all over this plant. However, it doesn't really produce fruit, and the fruits that it does produce is at a minimum. Most of the fruits are seedless, and you barely get any seed from it. So even though this plant is big and there's a ton of flowers all over it, I'm probably not going to get any fruit out of it or any seed out of it. So I'm not gonna, I don't know if I'm going to cut it down to the floor and then bring in the stump and just let a couple of shoots come up and then replant it next year. I don't know if it's worth it, because the plant never produces really any fruit. It's very hard to get fruit out of this. Again, like for example, show you right there. See right here? Like here's a fruit. There's no seed in this. This is garbage. I mean, it's good for eating, but I mean, it's basically garbage if you're trying to get seed from it. There's no seed in them. Okay, let's move right along. So right here, what this is called, this is a Cathumbi Black. However, this is not a true Cathumbi Black, because this here is a variant that still every now and again comes out of the Cathumbi Black, and you end up with this particular thing here. And so what this is called, or what I've been calling it, is Cathumbi Red. And basically what it is it's a Cathumbi Black that doesn't really get black. It gets this smoky color to it, but it's not a true black. Cathumbi Blacks get true black all the way around it. And here's the flower. So you give a good look at it, right? That's the flower. They get true black, and they stay black all the way around. These are basically green that get the shading on them, and it does come from the Cathumbi Blacks. And so what you end up with a lot of times is this kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying? And so this is one of those variants that come out of it every now and again, and you get that with the Cathumbi Black as well. And that's what you're looking at right here. So it's basically, and these, I just did a review on one of these, and I'll upload that video soon. And these are very, very hot. These are up in the 7-pot heat range, to be honest with you. As you can see, this thing is absolutely loaded with pods up and down the plant. All the way. There's literally got to be several hundred pods on that thing. So it's an unbelievable variety. So yeah, that's the Cathumbi Red. At least that's what I'm calling it. This is the daytail pepper. I'm a little disappointed with the daytail pepper because, number one, it's a late bloomer. It's putting out its flowers now. We're basically in the middle of August. I mean October here, and it's putting out its flowers. And that's just too late for me to get fruit. In fact, there are some fruit on it right now. If I could find a couple here. As you can see here, there are some fruit on here, and these been on here since maybe the end of July, and they just started coming out basically in the end of July, beginning of August, somewhere around that time. And here we are. It's the middle of October, and I still got green fruit on it, and now it's getting ready for we're getting close to the frost dates. So I don't know. I may have to dig this up and bring it in the greenhouse for a little while just so it doesn't get hit with frost. I don't know what to do. But I need the seed from it because I'm running out of seed for the daytail pepper. Okay, so over here we got the Malaysian Gournong, which is on the other side here. And the Malaysian Gournong did very well this year. We picked most of the pods off it. Here's some of the green ones. These are just green. They will turn yellow. They look very similar to Madame Jeanette, but they are not the Madame Jeanette pepper. They actually taste quite different. This tastes more of the habanero type flavor, whereas Madame Jeanette has more of a more of a spicy type flavor to it. I like the flavor of the Managinets a lot better, and I can see why people like them so much. Malaysian Gournong is also a very good pepper, but it's more in the habanero range, and it is kind of a spicy flavor in and of itself. And when I talk about spicy, we're talking about that fatale type effect. Let's see, what do we got here? Now, down below here, which didn't really grow very much, it stayed small like a bush, is another hybrid. And I just threw it out here to see if it would do good, and I did get some peppers off it, but I didn't do terribly good with it. And I did the same thing with this, thinking this was going to get actually, quite big, and it didn't. And this is the black pearl pepper. Unfortunately, I don't know. I thought it was going to get big. It just didn't get big. This thing took over, and it crowded it out, so I got kind of screwed on that. I'm not bringing that in either. So we could just start it from seed next year, not a big deal. Let's see, just a real quick thing over here, in case you're wondering. This is the Solanum arcanum growing over here. It does not get a lot of, doesn't produce a lot of tomatoes, very few in fact. I am going to cut it really short, and then I'm going to bring in the base of the plant. So I'm going to winter over the base like I did last year. This plant is going on 2 to maybe 3 years old already, Solanum arcanum. And I also have the JF McBar wild hairy tomato. It's a different variation of hairy tomato, and so I have that one as well. And I'm trying to see, is there any fruit on here? There's no fruit on it, but I don't think I'm going to bring in the JF McBar because it was a very heavy producing tomato variety, and I got plenty of tomatoes and seed from it, so we could just plant it again from the beginning. But this particular tomato variety has been wintered over, so it is a 2-year plant, but I'm not going to dig it up and bring it in. I'm going to be bringing in some of the other specialty tomatoes like the Arcanums and the Neorikis and some of the other ones that I got. And of course, here's my, as you can see how big this thing is. This is the dwarf Tamarillo. In fact, I love this plant. In fact, there's one of these little Tamarillos right here. I gotta have one of these. Oh yeah, yummy. Now with the dwarf Tamarillo, what I'm probably going to do with that one is I'm probably going to cut it down to close to the stump, and I'm going to put that in a small pot, and I'm going to bring it in. And you just need to winter the stump over, and then keep it alive throughout the winter. Let it kind of grow a little bit, and then just keep it alive. And then when you're ready in spring, you just bring it outside, you plant it out, and the plant will go right back into what you see here. This is like 1 year's growth. In fact, this can be double or triple the size of it if you let them get bigger. But I keep cutting them down and bringing them in. This plant's already been wintered over. You got to winter this over if you want to get fruit. This is called the Solanum aviculari, this particular one right here. And the Solanum aviculari, which you're looking at right here, this is actually considered an invasive species, I believe, in the state of California, even though it doesn't grow in California. They preemptively designated this plant before it even became an invasive species as an invasive species in California. So, believe it or not, that's what they did. And so, it's not even growing in there. They just don't want it to grow there, and they made it invasive before it can become invasive. So that's preemptive. And so here it is. This is the plant. You can see there's some fruit on here, but not an absolute ton. But there's some on there, and these fruits only get around this big. Some people are saying that this isn't Solanum aviculari or something. It's Solanum aviculari, but believe me when I tell you, I bought the seed from somebody, from a botanist, where this individual knows exactly what they're talking about. Let's see here. So here's more Solanum aviculari over here. These are the Romano pole beans. We did quite well with Romano pole beans this year. We're going to get a ton of beans this year off of these plants. These are growing in like several places on my property, so I'll be able to scoop those up and end up hopefully with a couple of pounds worth. And in the back, this plant here, I forgot what this is called. This thing's supposed to be an invasive species in some places in the U.S., but I can't see how it's an invasive species because I don't think it's going to live through the winter. I'm not bringing it in. But it never fruited. It did flower a few times, a couple of flowers, and I don't see any fruit coming out of it. So here's a flower here. Okay, it's a little flower. It didn't bloom yet, but the flowers are real tiny right here. Here we go. There we go. It's like a little bellflower. It didn't make any fruit. None of these flowers transcended into fruits. So I don't see any of them. It's supposed to look kind of like a long, elongated white tomato type of thing. They're supposed to be maybe edible, but I don't know. That's one of the plants. I'm probably not going to bring that in. I don't want to waste my time with it. If it's not fruiting, I'm not growing it again. Of course, you can see on the trellises growing in the back, you can see all my Mexican sour gherkins. They're literally falling all over the ground over here. They're everywhere. And so I don't plant those. I just let them hit the ground. And they self-seed every year. And these things literally come up wild for me every year. Okay? So I don't even grow them. If I need them, I eat them. And then I just grab the seed from them and offer you fresh seed when you want to buy seed. I wish there was a way I can send them to you fresh like this, but I don't really have a way to send them fresh, and I would just send it to you like that, and then you could pick the seeds out and then eat the flesh and see what it tastes like for yourself. But that's what that is, and here's the black keys, tomato. You can see these, it makes these wonderful black keys tomatoes, really beautiful tomato. We got our Russian kales grown here. Now, these are all volunteers. I don't grow any of this. The volunteers come up. They stay alive. They'll live through the winter, and then next year I'll get seed from them. What else we got here? We have this thing here. This is a jolt tomato, but this is a very strange type of jolt tomato. Look at this thing. It laid down, and it's growing along the ground. I don't know if it's supposed to do that, but this plant literally got so big that it laid down, and I've never got this thing to actually flower, but for the first time since I've been growing this plant for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years now, I actually see flowers on it for the first time. And this plant is a 2-year-old plant. I actually wintered it over thinking, maybe winter it over and I'll get flowers then. But I have ones in the greenhouse that I planted for the first time, and they're fruiting. So this plant will flower this year, but I don't know if I'll make it or not. So let's see what else we got here. Anything else? Oh yeah, and back here, you can see my Swiss chard plant. Right now, it's kind of being shaded out, but once I cut this big tree down, another one. Ooh. And just so you know, you could eat these things in a semi-green state like this. See how it's kind of still a little green? I actually like them like that because they're a little bit more firm. Like a firm peach. They're good. Yeah, so the purpose of the Swiss chard is just to get the seed from it. This is a typical green stem, typical, it's a garden variety of Swiss chard. It's not a commercial variety, but you have to winter those over to get seed from them through the next year. So the first thing next year, it'll bolt up and I'll be able to get the seed from it. They're kind of a 2-year grow, so they take a little bit more than your typical stuff. So let's see what we got here. Just more stuff randomly popping up over here, just so you know. You see collards are popping up all around. There's my tomato plants. Okay, so you want me to pick one of these and do the deal. Well, let's pick one of these nasties. They're all kind of orange. If you leave them on here long enough, I don't know. Some of them are kind of like almost been on here so long they're starting to rot. So let's pick a small one. There's one here nice and dark red. Let's do this thing. Oh, this looks nasty, guys. Oh my God. I don't know if I want to do this. I didn't really do any pod reviews this year, so I did a few, but I've been eating hot peppers, but nothing like this. I haven't really been eating these. This is going to be rough. So, all right, let's bring in the greenhouse and take a look at it. All right, welcome back. Here we are. We're going to do a pod review on this pepper right here, and I didn't really name this thing, but it's one of the variants that came out from a cross from a Carolina Reaper and a Fatale that I crossed. And I ended up with several different kind of variations from it. Most of them I don't keep because I'm not interested in them. But this one looked pretty cool. This one's coming out kind of long and looks really hot and nasty. So I figured I'd keep this one, and maybe I'll give it a name eventually. But this one here I think is, this plant is a, is it F2 or F3? It's either an F2 or an F3. I don't remember. I did write it down. So I think it's an F3. But that's it right there. And it's one of the variants from the Carolina Reaper by Fatale. If you go on HRSeeds.com and you look up CRX Fatale, that is what this is, one of the variants from that cross. So that's it. And let's give this one a go. Just gotta make sure. Just want to make sure it's not rotten. That thing's hot. Now, I don't know if it's because I haven't really been eating super hots really this year. Not that much. I've been eating regular hot peppers, but not the real super hots. This thing's starting to really come in like a violent kind of a heat. I almost felt a little nauseous. I had to spit this thing out. This thing is coming in like, it's coming in very, very strong. It's coming in like a dogla, or more than that. It's coming in more like a scorpion. It's very, very nasty. You see that? It has a very nice flavor to it, though. A very, very, very nice flavor. It has a flavor very similar to a, I don't want to say Fatale. It doesn't quite taste like a, it doesn't taste like Fatale, and it doesn't really taste like a Reaper. It tastes like a Dogla, to be honest with you. It has a nice floral smell to it. Man, this thing's cooking hot, man. I'm a little nervous right now. It's hot. It's hot. You gotta give me a minute to manage it. Ooh. Okay, a little bit lightheadedness. That's it. That's a head rush. I gotta like stabilize myself. Ooh. Wow. It's all right. I'm used to it though. I can't keep doing these though. These pod reviews are really taking a toll on me. What they do is they raise your blood pressure all the way up like that. My heart is pounding. I don't want to get a heart attack on camera. Ooh, that's hot, boy. Whew. That's nasty. I had to spit most of that out. I did take a good gulp of the juice now down. It's very, very hot. I'm not going to put it that high, though. I'm not going to say it's hotter than the Dogla. Probably a little bit less heat than the Dogla, but it's definitely up there in that Dogla range. First thing that comes to my mind when I eat this is a Dogla. Oh, man. Sorry, you just got to deal with me. I'm making nasty faces. You just got to deal with me because it hurts. It's hurting my gums. It got in there around my gums. Man, it hurts, man. It's almost numb. Whew. It's coming down. Oh. Ooh, that hurts. I handled that a lot better than I thought it was, actually. Whew. Wow. Look, I'm sweating. I'm sweating up. Okay. Sorry, let's talk about that for a minute. My heart rate's up, guys. Plus, I'm fasting, so when you fast, things like this raise your heartbeat. It's okay. Nothing's gonna happen. All right. So let's talk about the taste first. The flavor of this thing kind of tastes like, it's very nice. It has a texture of like a very thin-walled habanero, but it doesn't taste like habanero. It tastes more like it's hard to say. I almost want to say it has like a combination flavor between like it has like a flavor of like a combo between, say, I don't know, a bootla, not a bootla. What do you call those things? The Doglas. It has kind of a taste between a Dogla and possibly it has that kind of rich flavor of a possibly a little bit of a mix of a Fatale flavor. And almost a little bit of a flavor of a not scorpion or nothing like that. It almost like habanero because it has a slightly fruity flavor. it's really hard to say. It's kind of unique, this thing. It has like mixed flavors between, and I really like the flavor of the Fatali. So the purpose of doing that was I want to get the flavor of the Fatali into something like a Carolina Reaper, because I like the taste of the Carolina Reaper, but the Carolina Reapers don't make me, they don't make me sick per se. And the Fatalis make me kind of sick. So I kind of trying to incorporate that Fatali flavor into another pepper variety, get the heat out of it, get nice heat out of it with a nice Fatali flavor. That was my original intention. This is very close. It does have a kind of Fatali type flavor. It's not upsetting my stomach. I don't know if it has a Reaper flavor to it. It might have, maybe that's what it is. Maybe I'm tasting a little bit of that. Reapers are basically 7-pot, so it's kind of tasting like a 7-pot. Kind of has that flavor in it. But the pepper that's coming to mind for me is a Dogla. It's tasting a lot like a Dogla mixed with a type of Fatali flavor. It almost has like some undertones of possibly even a habanero type, a little bit of fruitiness to it, very slightly. But it's mostly, if I was to give it a flavor range, it's mostly coming into the Dogla and the Fatali type range. It has a little bit of mix of flavor for both. It's pretty nice. It's a very hot pepper, but I wouldn't quite say it's as hot as a Dogla. Maybe step that down a little bit as far as the heat range on that thing. Oh God, not quite a 500,000. I would definitely put this somewhere around between 200 and 300,000. Now this was a small one we bit. If you wanted to go bite one of these, if you wanted to bite into one of these things, I wouldn't recommend that, guys. These things are absolutely brutal. I don't know, maybe I'll give it a name and I'll put it up online. But for now, I forgot what the number is. I gave it a number. But it is a CRX Fatali cross. It's just a different variation from that cross. That's what this is. So I'll give it a name and then I'll put it up online. But it's definitely worth a grow. So keep in mind, when you are growing these kind of peppers out for the first time, what you have to do is you got to grow all the seeds out. So it comes in a pack of 10 seeds. So you got to grow out all 10, and then you got to select the variations that you want. You can select all 10 variations and keep growing out all 10, and then you keep getting more variation. So it will split off for a while, for about 2 or 3 seasons, and then it stabilizes. Of course, each one of those will stabilize if you're growing all 10 of them out every single time. So the first 2 years, they kind of split off like that quite a bit. Some will revert back to the mother, some will revert back to the donor, and then eventually you'll end up with a couple of variations of that, and then you stabilize those, and then you got your own variety. You don't even have to worry about crossing it. I did the hard work for you. So if you want to give this bad boy a go, now these are all orange, but these will eventually turn red like this. They will get red eventually, like that. Guys, these are nice and hot. They're mild. They're not as hot as I would have liked, but they're still ferociously hot. Now, that was just a little one. I'm already roasted. I'm not going to do another bite into this one to do another pod review. But it has a nice flavor. I'm going to be honest with you. It has that Fatali flavor I was looking for. I got a nice aftertaste, and I'm not belching, so I do like that. I did belch once, but it's just a normal hot pepper burp that you get when you eat hot peppers. Oh man, it's just tough for me. I haven't really been doing pod reviews this year because of the insect damage. You can see what they did. They destroyed my whole thing here, and I ripped all the plants out and I just left it. Same thing up there. I just ripped everything out of here. I still have the, this thing here, which is called the Manzano Red, and so you can see there's some pods here, and so the Manzano Red's growing pretty good. Semi-cold tolerant. I probably will bring this in. I'm just going to cut it down. This plant here, too, just so you know, this plant is like, oh my God, I don't know. It's like 3 or 4 years old already. I've cut this down and brought it in so many times, I don't even remember how old it is. This plant's got to be like 3 years old. And depending on where you plant it, it really produces. Next year, I'm going to plant this all the way up at the top of my driveway where it gets the maximum amount of sun. I'll probably get a ton of fruit off of this thing. So we'll keep it alive. Like I said, it's getting fruit now, but I got plenty of seed for that, and I'm not worried about it. So anyway, here it is. And we're not going to eat that again. I'm not eating another one of these. But I will I will offer this on my website, and you just have to click the link below. I don't know what I'm going to name it. No, I'll give it a something simple name. But we will name that, and you want to give this one a try. Again, it's a very unique flavor. I like the Fatali flavor in there. That's what I kind of been hoping to do. It doesn't have quite that Reaper flavor along with the Fatali flavor, but maybe it does. Like I said, it has a dogla to me, is what's coming to mind. But that's it. That's a nice and wicked, homemade, homebrewed by HR himself. That's one of mine. I'm very proud of that, even though I didn't plan for this. It's just a variant. But anyway, so that was just a quick garden tour that I showed you. I could probably show you some of the other junk in here, but I don't want to make the video too long. It's just a quick garden tour. I did a quick review for you, quick pod review for you, and just figured I'd give you something to look forward to when you see these online. I'll maybe do another video on this separate, and just so I can put it on the website. But what I'll do is I will put the link below. I will also put all the information that I want to put on this pepper down below in the description. You can read about it there. Shoot over to HRSeeds. You can pick up seeds on the website for this if you want to give it a grow. And remember, it's probably like an F2, F3, so you might not get that many variants from it. So this might be, it might start stabilizing, but you might get a few. So if you buy 10 seeds, you're going to want to plant all 10 of them out. All right, so anyway, guys, that's it. This is a quick pod review with this, CRX Fatali variant. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Take care.